Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about what you're going through at this time, but I want to start out with what would you have been doing had you not been swept up in this?
Well, I would have been working. Number one, I wouldn't have lost my business. I wouldn't have lost my home in Jersey City. I had a resort to moving to South Jersey at our family summer home. I would have been involved somehow in trying to move issues, public advocacy, if you will, in government. I've lost the ability now to even advocate on issues because who would, given the circumstances, there are not many, honestly, that are going to pay me the time, give me the time of day. So you realize that, and then you realize in today's world, where your name is a Google away of bringing every bad story and every accusation, false or not, that was made about you, it's pretty much is a game ender, if you will. I've been fortunate and blessed to have a wonderful family, and I have a strong faith in my religion, in Jesus Christ, and I've been able to survive up to this point. But pretty much, I said, I think you were at the press conference when I said it, that I don't know when my time is to meet my Maker, but forever, whatever purpose it is, on my tombstone, my date of death was July 23rd, 2009, when everything came to an end for me.
This new advocacy, this pursuit of the misconduct of the prosecution hasn't changed that feeling any?
It's like, I know that I'm going to raise those issues. I know when I'm successful enough to withstand what they did to me, as far as in the courts, that someone hopefully will take that and bring it. But then what happens after that? And that's the troubling part. I haven't had time to dwell on it. I don't want to dwell on the future. I need to concentrate and focus on this case now and get this resolved. Mainly, clear, not only to clear my name, but just to make sure that this rotten thing doesn't happen to some other innocent person in the future.
Okay. Well, you already mentioned about the Google, and what I have found is that there's no such thing as clearing your name.
That's the point.
There's somebody that's going to assume you're a crook or believe you're, because that's what they choose to believe.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned before that this was nothing personal when they went after you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but then by your actions, it's become personal, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. I mean, I found out that they broke the law. I made it public, and then I was able to put names to the people who broke the law, how they did. I found they had substantial conflicts of interest, and I'm not just talking about like little rules being brought. I'm talking about obstruction of justice by people who were in positions to know better and in positions to preserve due process. So yes, they're fighting back, and they have to fight back vehemently, because the only justification for their crimes is my conviction. If they don't convict me, they have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's why this has become such a fight to the death.
Okay, and it doesn't matter if they convict you of one little thing, right?
No, they'll they want to raise the flag.
Let's run through the indictments, okay? When you first, the first set of indictments were for what?
Oh, they started out with extortion under cover of official right, the Travel Act, which is basically trying to committing a crime in fleeing New Jersey to commit being charged with a crime in New Jersey and committing the crime in another state, New York.
Okay, you know what? Let's with that Travel Act, and I'm glad you mentioned it because I would have forgot about it. They do they have to charge certain things for it to be federal.
Right.
Okay, there's got to be certain actions taken for it to be federal and not state.
Mm-hmm.
And with these were good rules, good laws. This Travel Act,
Mm-hmm.
this mail fraud, this is certain things were designed to give federal government tools so that they could bring criminals to justice.
Yes.
Okay, when they could not otherwise do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's use this as a different kind of tool of make it, let's make a crime out of something, make a federal offense out of something. Your violation of the Travel Act was you had lunch at Perkins
Mm-hmm.
in Staten Island,
Right.
okay? Let's make that clear, okay? Which is not a violation at all, it doesn't fit, okay? That was in the first indictment.
And it's still in this. It lasted through the second,
Okay.
and it's made it through the third.
But it was also mail fraud, right?
Mail fraud got thrown out in the second one.
No, but the first set of indictments,
Right.
it was,
Mail fraud wasn't in the first set.
Oh, okay.
Mail fraud was in the second set, and we feel it was a throw-in because after they heard our argument on the extortion and that how I couldn't be charged as a non-public official, that they went back and redid the grand jury over in the second indictment to coincide with their new argument at the time.
all right, now I've confused them all. Let's start again. First set of indictments was what?
Extortion, Travel Act.
Okay, and the second?
Second was extortion, Travel Act, mail fraud.
Okay, now, when I say second, they refer to it as a superseding
Right.
indictment. Meaning, this is what you're indicted for now instead of that other stuff.
Right.
Okay, so when they do the new set of indictments, it what's the word? It supersedes. Well, it
If
supersedes.
supersedes the other one, they have to go to another grand jury.
Okay. Now the third.
Third is Travel Act and misfeasance of a felony, which is basically an archaic law that says I failed to report a crime, which is so archaic that the Fifth Amendment and your defense of not being, given the right to remain silent, trumps dramatically.
Well, because
that charge.
right. Well, that's because you're being charged with being part of the crime that you didn't report.
Right, but I'm also, to show you how archaic the law is, I think the first Congress of the United States enacted the law, and obviously they never got around to taking the law off the books once the right to not incriminate yourself was interpreted as part of your due process rights.
Well, didn't you point out? I think you pointed it out, and that as far as misfeasance goes, Christie could be charged with that.
Anyone could, yeah, sure.
But I mean specific things that he.
Yeah. Well, listen. You look at this whole thing, the mail frauds, and this rings a bell. During the election for governor, they had monies from Todd Christie go to the Republican Governors Association, $200,000. Within a matter of weeks, the money from the Republican Governors Association is contributing $200,000 or more to Chris Christie's campaign. Now, under the premise of how they charged Jimmy King, how they were charging my mail fraud, and how they were charging Laverne Webb Washington, if Christie knew, or anybody knew, that the money that Todd Christie was giving to the Republican Governors Association was to go back to Governor Christie's PAC because he couldn't make the contribution to Christie's PAC direct,
Right.
that's a crime. That
Right.
was the mail fraud crime.
Right.
That's
legitimate mail fraud.
that is real legitimate mail
Yeah.
fraud. As a matter of fact, and people remember this, the loan to Michelle Brown. Christie gave a $40,000 loan to a first assistant U.S. Attorney, Michelle Brown, who was quarterbacking these prosecutions. And he said he forgot to report it 3 times. Income tax, ethics statement, and on his ELEC statement. All were mailed. Basically the same crime he went after the Democratic
Okay.
chairman of Bergen County, Joe Ferriera, on. So Ralph Mara sitting there, is prosecuting others for crimes he's, allowing Christie to get away with.